We're here in the kitchen with Liz Bouchon, and Liz, you do things that are so elegant
Well,
and
thank
so
you.
beautiful.
But today,
and I'm gonna no, this is beautiful too. That's what I'm saying. You're the only person I know that can take a cast iron skillet and make it so beautiful.
oh my gosh, that's a nice compliment.
It is
I
very
love
beautiful,
that.
and it is a skillet caramel apple
Apple
pie.
pie.
Show us how to get started.
Okay, well, it's so easy, and everybody can do this, and that's the whole purpose of creating this in a skillet.
Right.
Well, what you do is you make a caramel sauce. So this is a 2-layer pie baked with caramel, and the caramel kind of oozes up inside the
Ooh,
pie, and it is
very
so
nice.
good.
So that's what we've got in the bottom.
Yes, we have brown sugar, 6 tablespoons of butter, 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar, and salt.
6 tablespoons of butter.
Yes,
All right.
and I also put corn syrup in there, 2 teaspoons of corn syrup.
Because it wasn't sweet enough, so you had to put some corn
Right.
syrup.
Well, the corn
I
syrup just
know.
kind of makes it, more
Yes.
caramely and not so hard after it
Right.
bakes. So what I'm going to do, this is apples. This is about, I don't know, 6 cups, maybe 5 or 6 medium-sized
And
apples.
you use different kinds of apples in this too.
Yes,
didn't you?
Golden Delicious,
Granny Smith's.
Granny Smith, Macintosh, any
Ma-
sweet apple.
Macintosh apples being the best. so.
Yes. Okay.
But we
That's
got that all in there.
I
Yeah.
love that. Macintosh apples. How about that?
There
Play
you
on
go.
words. For this, I'm just adding a little bit of sugar and
Right.
a little bit of flour, a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon, and a little bit of salt.
And this is a pretty standard, straightforward apple pie recipe that you're
Yes.
doing here. The
Yes.
caramels where you kick it up several
and
notches.
you're adding
Yeah.
2 layers of pie crust. That's kind of a
Ooh.
unique thing.
Okay.
And it really bakes up so beautifully in the oven with this skillet. It makes the crust really crispy and all that. Well, anyway, what you're going to do here is you're
Right.
going to coat this completely.
You need to get all the apples covered.
Yes, and if you don't want to make your own filling, you can buy the canned pie filling.
Right.
But you would probably want 2 cans to make that work.
Okay.
Okay, now in our skillet, we have the caramel base.
Right.
And after you cook this on the stove, you don't want it to bubble because you don't want it to get hard.
Right.
You want to let it cool.
Okay.
Because you're going to put a cold pie crust
Right on top of it.
inside, and you don't want to bake your pie crust too soon.
Okay.
So we're just layering that in there. It's very rustic.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our apples.
And they all go in there?
And they all go in there.
All right. This is going to be a very thick pie.
Well, it cooks down.
Yeah.
So after it cooks down, it becomes kind of flat. So
Okay,
you want to
very good.
kind of overdo it a little
Okay.
bit. And then we're going to open up another package of pie crust. And I'm cheating today.
No, pie crust is one of those things. You can make pie crust, but the pie crust that you can get now pre-made
They are
is
so
really good.
Yes,
They're really
and it's
good.
quick and easy. You can have this for supper tonight. I mean, it takes you 5 minutes. Well, maybe a little bit longer than
A
5
little
minutes.
bit longer, but
But it's pretty fast.
Right.
So what you have to do, though, you have to vent out your pie crust. So I'm just going to do a little cute design on the top. This is my grandmother. She always did that.
She did this?
She did that, and I learned that from her.
and it's amazing when I watch people that learn cooking from their mothers and their grandmothers, the little tricks
the
that
little
they get.
tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
Now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of butter. This was left over from the stick of butter that you used,
Right.
earlier. So to make
And what does the
caramel.
butter do for it?
It just kind of helps give it added flavor and just kind of makes it taste even better.
Okay.
And then we're just adding the top crust. And what I like to do, see, you've got the bottom crust. If you can take the top and the bottom and kind of pinch it together,
Right.
and then turn it under, that way you're sealing all the edges of the pie.
And you've got the holes cut in the top to let the steam out.
Yes, and you're going to bake this in your oven at 375.
Okay.
A lot of people will, bake their oven, get it hot like at 400 or whatever, and then turn it down and all that. Well, I just bake this whole thing for an hour and 15 minutes, probably at 375.
375 for an hour and 15
Right.
minutes.
Now,
Okay.
after you do this, you're going to
Yeah.
brush your top of your pie with egg wash, and everybody knows how to make an egg
All right.
wash.
Well, we've got this completed. We're going to be getting it in the oven. And
Yep.
if you want this recipe and so many more, go to lizbouchon.com for all of that. And like I said, very elegant, even though it's in a
Thank
cast
you.
iron skillet.
I know, it's so good.
All right.